Hello. Welcome to the Do Nothing Project. I'm Jeff. This is my wife, Sarah. And welcome to our weekly experiment in doing very little. A project where I promise to do nothing for you and with you for at least 40 minutes, if I remember. These are my commitments. As you can see, we have a very high-tech setup here in the Barmak Warren Studios. We do have a webcam now, so the picture has increased. Hello, everybody. What's up, Henry? Hey, Madeline. Just saying hello to people in the comments. So, what can I say? It's 8 p.m., about an hour outside of Toronto in the province of Ontario, Canada. And this is our weekly hangout with our local community, our virtual community. So folks tune in from all over the States and Europe and Canada. And the idea is to, in a very simple way, give you all permission to pretty much do nothing. When I say do nothing, we do make a concession. We do a kind of meditation of some kind. Sometimes the meditation is a little more than nothing, moving into the realm of something, a particular technique we try to implement. But other times, as in tonight, for example, we're really very close to the bone of nothing, accomplishing very little, all in the service of, well, really nothing, which is as it should be, I think. Do you have anything to add to that, my wife?
Nothing will come of nothing.
Yes, that's true.
Which is, I guess, what we want.
Right. So our logic is complete here. Welcome all you guys, wherever you all from. So just finished teaching a retreat, the Consciousness Explorers Club annual retreat, which was super fun. It was the 6th one we've done. So people came from all around. We do this, we have a whole meditate, celebrate, activate component. Actually, I'm quite tired because there wasn't a lot of nothing there. There was some nothing, but there was a lot of doing, a lot of something, which was a disappointment, but also really fun. So we had some dance parties and campfires and special activation sessions where we teach people how to guide each other in meditation, where we practice active listening. We basically a whole complement of stuff. So I'm feeling pretty inspired after that, and lots of meditation, and it was in the woods. But today I thought I would guide a practice, like I said, that's very close to nothing. It's kind of inspired by the work of this dude here, who's a character that I've been interested in over the years. His name's Rupert Spira. Put him up here. So this is his book, a recent book he wrote called The Nature of Consciousness. He's obsessed with consciousness like me, but even more obsessed in some ways and more absolutist. So Rupert Spira is part of a cadre, you could say, a whole school of teachings, kind of rabble-rousing school. There's various strands and some of them disagree with each other. But it's at core, he teaches a philosophy that emerges from Hinduism called Advaita, which means not two. It's the a non-dual approach to kind of contemplative inquiry and perspective. And the classic kind of avatar of this approach in the 20th century was a fellow named Mahasi Sayadaw. Sorry, not Mahasi Sayadaw. It was a fellow named, oh my God, fucking blanking. But there's Nisargadatta, and then there's Dude on the Mountain. What the fuck? Anyway, it'll come to me. I just was listening to a Daniel Ingram interview where he was talking about Mahasi Sayadaw. So now I've got my Eastern philosophy, meditation gurus mixed up. But
he's sort of the opposite.
Anyway, he's the opposite. So the idea of within the Advaita school is that it's a way of understanding our true nature. Within Hinduism, it's not no self, it's true self. And that basically the kind of punchline is we feel like we're separate. We got this separate personality with a separate person, but actually we're more just like this activity of reality with this kind of and we can kind of experience ourselves as that. We can kind of know ourselves as this much larger awareness, this awareness which is indivisible, which is empty, which is filled with all potentials. And that this is a little kind of like move that contemplatives have been doing in different ways for thousands of years. And in the Advaita, in the traditional way of doing it, it's a lot about recognizing you are that. It sort of starts as almost cognitive. It's recognizing that you're this limitless awareness, that there's no limitations in your awareness in the direct experience of it, and that you can continue to inquire into this and kind of explore this from the top down, just looking and feeling and noticing how you're aware, and that inquiry over time begins to bear fruit, and you end up finding yourself being more free, feeling like you have more space. And there's a zillion more things we could say about it. But so this Rupert Spira is one approach, and he's got a good YouTube channel where you can watch stuff on that if you're interested. So I thought I'd lead a meditation that's a little bit inspired by that. It's not quite, I'm not going to get you to grope around and explore the nature of your awareness. You could do that. Most people just find it frustrating and annoying. That's why it's a very boutique approach. But I will kind of operate from what kind of our departure point will be the essential insight there, which is that all you need to do is just sort of rest as your own awareness, rest as who you are, is to call off the search, to not try to do anything, not try to be anything, but just sit in awareness. And anytime you notice an expectation come up around some ideal or some way in which you're hoping it could go, then you kind of lightly let that go, and then come back to just being in awareness. So I will offer a concession for those who find this completely annoying and baffling, which would be to, as you're kind of resting, you can be lightly aware of some object in your experience, your breath or sounds or whatever it is. So I'll guide us in that, and then you guys can tell me what you think. And I'll try not to let the sun blind me, because right now I'm being blinded, but I do this for you. So let's do our meditation, and we got 8:07. So we'll do it about 25 minutes or so. Enjoy. Okay, so as always, in our do nothing community, if you have your own technique, your own meditation practice you like to go to, of course, you're absolutely welcome to do that. But if you feel like playing along and joining me for this little exploration, then here is the guidance. First of all, you can do this practice eyes open or closed. Sometimes I actually find it easier to do with my eyes open, because with my eyes closed, I go kind of more automatically into a particular meditation technique, or I might get a bit dreamy or start thinking. So I often have my eyes open, sort of just looking at the ground in front of me, the soft focus. The ears can be closed. And we can start with a couple of kind of deep breaths. So as you breathe in, just stretching up the spine. And then the exhale, that's the downward motion. Just kind of signaling to your body that you're getting ready to practice. So nice long exhale, and as you're breathing out, you can soften your eyes and the forehead and the cheeks and the jaw. Soften the shoulders. Just activating some of that good parasympathetic response. Starting to come into a little bit more rest, breathing out any tension. So as always, right at the start here, when we do a meditation, it's always good to kind of just make a commitment to not get too uptight about things. So noticing if you're bracing, or you're kind of like clenching anywhere, or you're braced against sounds in the space you're in, or you're trying to hold back thoughts or suppress this feeling. Instead of that, I would just invite you to kind of just have this welcoming attitude, letting everything you are be there with you. Everything in the environment be there, and just kind of have this Fonzarelli cool commitment to not, get bent out of shape when things distract you or make noises you don't want to have them make. So we call that equanimity, and that's really the ground, the basics of any practice. It's asking you to find that to some degree. Okay, so we'll go into our main instruction, which is, it's pretty straightforward. It's just, first of all, notice you're aware. And this is not some trick question. If you're hearing my words, you're aware of my words. If you're seeing the ground in front of you or the back of your eyes, you're aware of the ground in front of you and the back of your eyes. You hear noises, you're aware of noises. So just sort of acknowledge that you're an aware creature. Awareness is piping through you. And a la Advaita, in a kind of non-dual sense, all you need to do is just know that you're complete in this moment. So can you kind of just rest as awareness, not needing to do anything? And it feels kind of like it's not a moving forward into looking for something. Rather, it's a kind of leaning back in your own awareness, just chilling, aware, with the understanding that there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. There's no one to be. That this state of being aware is a kind of deep completeness. If only we begin to recognize that and relax into that understanding. So try that now. And I guess, like I said, the one concession is, if just sitting like that, really doing nothing, just being aware, feels tricky or kind of hard to hold on to, then if you like, you can kind of lightly use a little anchor in the foreground. So maybe noticing the breath or noticing sounds. But even this, to try to do it in a light, very relaxed way. The ultimate unambitious meditation, which can take you to the greatest of human ambitions, total freedom. Good. So the instruction here is you're just sitting and you're completely relaxed and you're just resting in this aware state. You're aware, you're not checking out. You're present, but there's really no ambition in the way you're sitting. You're not trying to get anywhere. Kind of just resting in the knowing that sitting here, being aware is all that's needed in this moment, that there's a completeness to the experience. You have the option to kind of lightly, track your breath or sounds if that helps you stay present. And some people, it's really helpful. You don't have to do this. And if you got a lot of thoughts, not a problem. There's lots of thoughts or body aches, emotions. That can all just sort of be there. And let it be there in the background or even in the foreground. You're not trying to stop that stuff or even get a silent mind. You're just trying to be aware, knowing that the act of being aware is something very deep and mysterious and beautiful. Or just sinking back, settling back into awareness, into the mystery of this awareness, the mystery of the knower of who you really are. And some approaches might ask you to begin a kind of contemplation, exploring the limits of this knower, how far back it goes, where it is, who it is, the source of thoughts, source of perceptions. And that's fine, we can explore that, but the problem is as soon as we begin to move the mind into an exploration, it's trying to grab something that can't be grabbed. There's either a kind of feeling or insight that emerges, or this fruitful chase, or rather fruitless chase. That's why just resting as awareness can be so pleasurable in a way, and maybe the right way to know awareness. It's just to rest as it, being it, being aware, knowing what's happening, not needing anything to be different. And if there's any expectations that come up around hoping this is going to be interesting or useful or pleasurable, and just notice those come up and let them pass, because you just need to be aware. Rest as awareness. The pleasures of doing nothing. Just resting as awareness. Now, some people like to, be all formal sitting when they're doing this. I like to do it sometimes just sitting looking out at trees, or even when I'm walking around. Just noticing that I'm aware and not going into some big rumination, just lightly aware of my own awareness. And resting there, letting the world come to me. And the phrase for this in some traditions is call off the search. Not trying to get anywhere. Really resting. Giving yourself this chance here to just really rest. Just need to be. Good. So if you find yourself drifting off, often a daydream or ruminating about something or trying to strategize about the practice, just see if you can kind of let go of that and just come back to just being aware of what's in front of you, whatever's presenting, and the senses. Nice, loose, open, maybe aware of the periphery. this opportunity to really practice this deep kind of rest, this deep kind of doing nothing, letting our system reset a little bit as we just rest in this bare, utterly natural capacity to be aware, something we don't need to work at, something that just happens. It's there all the time. Arguably the one thing that never changes in our experience, this raw capacity for awareness. It's there even when we sleep. Can you notice that? Notice the awareness. Just be it. Rest in it. Okay, so that was our meditation, 25 minutes. Thank you guys for practicing, for your practice. If you have any questions about that or any reports, you're welcome to put it on the side here. How's that for you, Lo?
That was good. We just, this was like a good challenge meditation. We both just ate big bowls of pasta before this. So I was getting a bit of carb sleepiness, but it was interesting popping out. I would just pop out of the dream that I was drifting into and go, I'm aware.
And did you find you could just sit and rest inside the awareness, or what was the experience like? You just would drift off and then come back, or were you ever able to stabilize it for a while? Or?
Would stabilize it for short periods, and it helped to broaden my awareness, to have a broader sense of it, and to kind of step back, kind of relax back into it.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to anchor in something in a more mindfulness way.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So it's not the, this practice doesn't have some of the same tangible kind of pleasurable effects that, say, a concentration practice could. It can have it. Just the relaxation, the call, the surf, the search, the permission to do that can be really deeply affecting for people. But it doesn't have the same, unlike a concentration meditation where you're getting absorbed, the absorption itself creates this pleasurable feedback. It doesn't have that same structure in place in quite the same way. So, which is why it's it's not as common, you could say, a meditation style. It's sort of a boutique interest. Let's see what some of the, yeah, that's right. And you're saying the guy I was talking about was Sri Ramana Maharshi was the name it popped up in my meditation, was the name I was trying to say earlier as being one of main fellows, but it's true Krishnamurti as well, Nisargadatta. So Andrew's written a few names of some of the famous 20th century non-dual teachers. So if you guys have any questions about this practice or any reports about what happened, I realize it's sort of a drag to type them up there. I don't even know how it works. I don't know how anyone can leave a comment or whatever. What I would just say for myself is awareness acts like a kind of solvent. The more I come back to just noticing I'm awareness, just noticing that I'm just going to be aware of aware, the more it feels like what comes up in awareness when challenging things emerge, thoughts, rumination patterns, they kind of just chain out. They don't catch the same way. And I think that's that's sort of the intention of the practice is over time, the more you come back to just knowing that you're this, in a sense, this indivisible, unassailable awareness, this awareness that can't be stained, it can't be all the content's happening to it, but the content is made out of awareness. You can't, it's like trying to hurt space in a room. You can't hurt space in a room. Things can happen in that space, but the space is sort of like untouchable. Well, it's the same with awareness. The more you practice knowing yourself as that awareness, the more it starts to trickle down into the circuits and sort of free things up. So it's a very powerful practice, and they call it the direct path. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, someone's saying it's a good change of space, change of pace. Yes, so someone said, Brenda says you got a sense of wonder and awe, the fact that I was able to be aware of my own awareness. It is insane. The awe is the response of the nervous system as you begin to taste this true mystery. And it's this mystery that we all take for granted. So what is enlightenment? In many ways of thinking about it, enlightenment is just simply living the understanding that you are this untouchable, unconquerable, undivisible, undivided awareness, living in that truth. And it's just knowing you're that. You're aware of something, you know something, it's that. As simple as that. It's not like you're going to get to some goal or something. It's just knowing that. But to truly know that and live from that is to really, is to begin to change everything. So, and it's to begin to step into a mystery that just keeps going down and down and down and down.
And knowing that that's complete, knowing that that is enough. Absolutely.
Well, that's kind of it. It's like, it's the first step is you kind of know yourself as awareness. And then it's like you really start to have to believe it and know it's complete. And you keep investigating the nature of that awareness to find out experientially for yourself, is it truly limitless? Is it truly like this deeper identity? You conduct a kind of inquiry and it gets truer and truer and more complete. And then you begin to live more and more from it. So it's a lifelong process, The insight or the understanding that you're just awareness is sort of like the beginning, and it just goes from there. So a question here, if the popping back into awareness feeling is more and more jarring, is that a hint that we may have been slipping out of consciousness? Yeah, probably. So if you were kind of like popping back and it's sort of like a big jump back, you probably did go into some drifting there. You probably went into a little bit of a dream mode or, who knows what happened. So you kind of got to pop back. But although I should say also in some traditions, disappearing, so not just going off into a dream, but really just kind of like feeling like you just sort of disappeared, is itself something that a tradition might want to work with and might want to have happen. So it's very hard to be absolutist about this. Like every tradition has its own landmarks and presentations of what to kind of look for. But this is a place where we can talk about this, which is all really variations on doing nothing whatsoever. Yeah. So someone's saying Dave was experiencing some jerky movement. Yeah. Great. Someone's saying there was thunder and lightning in Calgary during the practice. Sweet. Okay, guys. So, you're welcome to send me a question about that practice if you're not sure, or something you want to ask. I will probably go back to doing a more conventional meditation guided instruction next week, or Sarah might, or a guest teacher might. But I do want to keep peppering in with these this do nothing project with these kinds of insights, because they're very powerful practices. They're very beloved for me. They're kind of one of my main go-tos these days. So I like to kind of bring people into what I'm doing. So what's happening here? I should be careful with wording so the popping back isn't. So Lily's saying she needs to practice more. Yeah, and practice patience. It's true. This is the ultimate patience practice, because the more you're waiting for something to happen or trying to make something happen, the more you're looking for something interesting, the further away from it you get. The analogy that Spira uses, which I love, is that it's sort of like a character in a movie running around looking for the screen. The character is trying to find the screen. The character is made out of the screen. You know, the screen's always there, and the character's running around looking for the screen. It's trying to find techniques to like, and maybe it notices the feeling of space. It's like, oh, this is the thing. But the space is sort of just an analog for the screen in the movie. It's not really the screen itself. We just need to know we are awareness. We are the screen, and that's all there is to it. But to really know that, you know, I guess that's the practice.
Yeah, that's a kind of a trap that I get into when I do this practice, is that I'll notice that I'm aware, and I'll think that noticing is what I'm looking for. Like, I'll think that, oh, now I'm really aware. Now I'm noticing, I'm aware of my awareness. And all the times that I'm not aware of my awareness, it's like I've lost that. But you're kind of noticing that you're always aware of something, that it's like always present.
See, that's the thing. The knowing, the awareness is always there. It's there even when you're in the most contracted state, just like, or you're just like eating a bowl of spaghetti or whatever it is you're doing. You're knowing that thing. It's knowing that it's being that thing. But people think, no, it can't be that. And when you do these practices of being aware of awareness, resting as awareness, you get maybe a little expansive. You start to feel your own being. You think, oh, that's the thing. But that's just the secondary response to moving in its direction. It's the relief that comes as you're starting to move towards it, but it's not the thing. There is no thing. It's not gettable. It's just the knowing itself. So anyway, I know this is probably infuriating to try to get your head around. That's why I don't talk about it very much. It's traditionally, non-dual teachings are the classic tear your hair out, get super annoyed at them. That's why people throw Eckhart Tolle books across the room. So, but we presented it anyway.
/ tear them off the shelves in enjoyment.
And which you can also do. So the people who are really into it are really into it. So anyway, good to hang out with you guys. I got to go to bed. I'm tired. My pregnant wife also needs to go to bed. Adios.